24 races in 38 weeks. That's Formula One's plan for the 2023 season, as we're set for a record-breaking 24 races in a single year. With the calendar expanding rapidly over the last decade or so, long gone are the days of having 17, 18 races in a season, as instead we're flying towards the big 30. And with these extra races come extra circuits, from brand new street circuits like Jeddah to old school venues like Imola making a return. Yet, even with the return of Imola and classic tracks like Zandvoort, there are still a bunch of circuits I think need to come back to F1 and that I'd love to see back on the calendar. And with 3 races in the US now and 2 in Italy, we do have some wiggle room on the calendar if we need it. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. These are 5 tracks that F1 needs to bring back. Number 1, Sepang. A choice I'm sure a lot of you could have seen coming. The Sepang International Circuit, located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, is just one of those tracks that's made for F1. Having hosted the Malaysian Grand Prix from 1999 to 2017, Herman Tilke Masterpiece has seen a huge amount of iconic moments over the years, including Kimi's first win in 03, Red Bull's multi-21 scandal, Perez almost winning in a Sauber, and of course one of the wettest Grand Prix of all time in 2009. However, with Malaysia not appearing to be a key growth area for F1, it's unlikely to make a return on the calendar anytime soon. But still, I'd love to see it make a return. Number 2, Buddha. With India being the second most populated country in the world, it was a long time coming when F1 visited the brand new, purpose-built track for the first time in 2011. Full of undulation and character, the circuit was popular among drivers and fans alike, and did provide some good racing, even though Vettel did dominate every single year. The track dropped off the calendar after 2013 for what was meant to be just 1 year off. However, that 1 year quickly became 2, and then 3, and then 9, all thanks initially to a tax dispute between the FIA and the local Indian government, who didn't see F1 as a sport and instead as entertainment, and thus wanted to tax it accordingly. This mixed with a lack of ticket sales, poor advertising, and a bunch of other financial issues meant that we've not seen the track in action since 2013. But again, I'd love to see it come back. India has a massive F1 fan base, and at the very minimum it seems a little bit unfair that Italy has 2 Grand Prix, but India doesn't even have 1. Speaking of unfair though, number 3, Hockenheim. Germany has won a combined total of 11 World Championships. That's the second most of any country. And yet in recent years its place in the calendar has been patchy to say the least. The Hockenheim ring almost exclusively held the German Grand Prix from the late 70s to the mid 2000s, when they then began alternating between the Nürburgring and themselves for a little bit, before it then dropped off the calendar briefly in 2015 and 2017, and then fully when COVID hit. It's an iconic track that's provided us with some great racing action, including one of the wildest races I've ever witnessed in 2019. Yet, as all things in F1, in the end it comes down to money. They don't want to spend the stupid amount F1 are asking for to host a race, as financially it wouldn't work for them. And with the new American and Middle Eastern races happily splashing the cash for their spot on the calendar, there just isn't a space for Germany anymore. Which is a shame, because the country itself is so infamous in motorsport and of course successful in Formula 1. So hopefully one day we'll see it make a return. Number 4, Istanbul Park. Like a family on Christmas Day, I want Turkey. The Istanbul Park circuit came onto the scene in 2005 as Herman Tilke's latest masterpiece. It was a circuit that forced drivers to push their limits and punish them for overstepping them, as we saw countless times in its initial 7-year run on the calendar. It dropped off for 2012 though, as F1 once again got a bit money hungry and demanded more from the circuit, which it just could not pay. So despite it being a favourite among drivers and fans, we all said goodbye and tried to get over our loss. That was until 2020, when the pandemic ruined everything for everyone. One positive emerged: the return of Turkey. And boy oh boy was it a wild weekend, with the weather and resurfaced track causing chaos, as Lance Stroll took pole position and Lewis Hamilton won his 7th world title. Honestly, I can't believe that weekend was real. Turkey again hosted a race in 2021, replacing Singapore, which had to cancel. However, finally dropped off again for this season. I'm not an idiot, I know the money's not there, but even still, I'd love to see the track come back. As for me and many other people I'm sure who grew up watching the racing there, it just needs to be an F1. And finally, at number 5, we have Kyle Army. Bring F1 back to Africa. Need I say more? The 4.5km circuit hosted the South African Grand Prix from 1967 to 85, with a brief 2-year return in 92 and 93, providing us with some great races along the way. However, it currently only holds a Grade 2 FIA licence, which combined with the cost to host an F1 race is why we're still yet to see the sport's return to the continent. Yet, not all hope is lost yet, as F1 have said they're keen to return to South Africa, and the owners of the circuit have agreed to make the changes to get it to Grade 1 standard if F1 are seeing a long-term future at the track. So it could be on the card. odds, maybe. I mean, you know what F1 are like. I'd love to see it happen, as I'm sure so many people in Africa would. It's meant to be a World Championship Series. It has to go to the continent. It just doesn't make sense for them not to. Formula One, if you're watching this, which I mean, you're probably not, but if you are, we don't need another race in America, okay? We don't need a second race in Italy. Give us a race in Africa. But yeah, there you have it, boys and girls. That is 5 tracks that I'd love to see return to the F1 calendar. But what about you? Let me know in the comment section down below what tracks you'd love to see make a return. I know there's a few I didn't mention which might be quite popular, like Manicourt, for example, and even like Indianapolis and Watkins Glen in America. So be sure to let me know down below. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I've been Aiden, this has been Crash F1. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.